Second, and I should be done. Okay. Hello, everyone, and a massive virtual welcome to International Women's Day 2025. We are absolutely thrilled to have you join us today as we collectively embrace a powerful and inspiring theme, Redefine the Possible. We want to wish a happy International Women's Day to all women around the world. Look around you, well, virtually look around you. You are part of a vibrant community gathered here to challenge the very boundaries of what technology can achieve and, crucially, to reimagine who shapes its future. We stand at a pivotal moment. Artificial intelligence is no longer a futuristic fantasy. It's rapidly transforming our world, bringing it with it incredible opportunities. But let's be honest, its powerful wave also carries the risk of amplifying existing biases and systemic barriers. That's why tonight it's so important. We believe that women are not just participants in the AI revolution, we are its revolutionaries. You are breaking conventions, shattering glass ceilings, and expanding the horizons of what technology can and should be. The future of technology isn't written in stone, it's a story we are actively writing together. What might seem impossible today, equitable AI, truly inclusive tech spaces, a world where innovation knows no limitation becomes tomorrow reality when we dare to challenge the status quo, when we dare to redefine possible. We are incredibly proud to have you join this virtual conversation, and we have a fantastic lineup of speakers who are actively pushing those boundaries. Today's event is brought to you by the passionate communities of GDG Tampa Bay, and we have here Carol Bolger, and the Capital Region, which is represented today by me. And we extend our sincere gratitude to our amazing sponsors who have made this evening possible: O'Reilly, JetBrains, and Codeco. Thank you for your unwavering support. So buckle up for an evening of insightful talks, inspiring stories, and powerful connections. And I will hand it over to Carol. Carol, are you still having problems with your computer? Do you want me to go?
Okay, there we go.
No, okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's dive into our agenda here. You can see that we have a packed agenda, and we're going to kick things off with our first speaker at about 6:15. But right now, let's just take a moment to celebrate being here, being part of this movement, and being ready to redefine possible. So first, we have some announcements to make. All right, our code of conduct. So GDG Tampa Bay and GDG Capital Region are committed to fostering a welcoming and inclusive event experience for all participants. So just remember to be excellent to each other. And by attending this event, you agree to adhere to our complete code of conduct, which is designed to ensure a respectful and positive environment for everyone involved. And we appreciate your cooperation in making this a fantastic experience for all. If you'd like to read the complete code of conduct, you can access it through that QR code on the screen. Okay, and moving on, this event is being recorded. So by remaining in this virtual space, you acknowledge and consent to being part of the recording. If you do not wish to be recorded, we kindly ask that you leave the event at this time. You can also turn your camera off if you feel more comfortable in that way. And after the event, we'll make the recording available for viewing. Thank you for your cooperation and understanding in this.
All right, everyone. At the end of the event, we will have a raffle for our attendees. So we have fantastic prizes giving away today, thanks to our generous support of our amazing sponsors. But first, a quick rundown of the rules to make sure everything is fair and fun. To enter the raffle, you have to fill out our feedback form, which truly value your thoughts, and this will help us to make our future events better. Be present to win. The key is you need to be present when we draw your prizes in order for you to claim your prize. So stick around. And the prize selection, we will be drawing the lucky winners live during our closing remarks. So let's see what prizes we have for you today. O'Reilly Media will be giving away to our 5 lucky attendees an ebook of their choice, but that's not all. Every single attendee today gets a 30-day special free trial to the entire O'Reilly learning platform. Then Codeco is also offering to 5 lucky winners an ebook to expand your technical skills. And last but not least, JetBrains is generously giving away 1 annual personal subscription to any of their fantastic ideas, which is a value of $245. So make sure you are here for the closing remarks. Keep those fingers crossed and get ready to potentially walk away with some incredible resources to fuel your tech journey. Good luck to everyone, and thank you again to O'Reilly, Codeco, and JetBrains for their amazing contribution. Next.
Okay, so join me now in welcoming Roya. Roya is not just a research scientist. She's a pioneer pushing the boundaries of what AI can achieve. With a PhD in electrical engineering, a U.S. patent to her name, and numerous impactful publications spanning electrical engineering, mathematics, and artificial intelligence, Roya's intellectual firepower is undeniable. Her work delves into the fascinating realms of generative AI, computer vision, and pattern recognition, leading to the development of cutting-edge machine learning solutions that are making a tangible difference in the fields like healthcare, assistive technologies, and security. Oops. I'm sorry.
Do you want me to take over?
I lost my slide. Oh, no.
Okay, I will go over, but Roya's impact expands far beyond the laboratory. She is deeply passionate about advancing science and equally committed to women's rights. As a Google developer expert and a cloud champion in AI/ML, a Google Women's Tech Makers Ambassador, and a co-organizer of Google Developer Group Cloud Boston, Roya actively uses her platforms to uplift and empower women in the workplace and advocate for the rights of women. Roya embodies what it meant to redefine possible. She demonstrated that brilliance knows... Hey, Google, stop. She demonstrates that brilliance knows no gender, and that by breaking down barriers and fostering inclusivity, we unlock unprecedented potential for innovation. Let's give a warm International Women's Day welcome to Roya. We are eager to hear your insights and be inspired by your talk, building a PDF question answering system with Retrieval Augmented Generation. The floor is yours, Roya. Give me 1 second. I will unshare my screen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me in this afternoon. And happy International Women's Day to everybody, and also to the non-binary individuals among us. I'm delighted to be among this very vibrant community, and also be among some of the experts that I know, and to just learn together. So with that being said, give me a moment to share my screen. My plan for tonight is to use these 20 minutes to demystify retrieval augmented generation. In the past few months or years, we have been hearing about RAG again and again as essentially a way to make generative AI better, but I thought maybe we can build one together in 20 minutes and actually expand on it for the future use cases. Before that, I wanted to talk a little bit about myself. So, my name is Roya, and it means a very sweet dream in Farsi. And I think my sweetest dream would be to utilize AI for everybody to enhance uh, life and make sure everybody benefits from it equally. As it was mentioned, I have a PhD in electrical engineering. I was supervised by Professor Kamishna Maduri, who is a well-known scientist for his work on unmanned airborne vehicles. I'm a senior scientist with a focus on generative AI. I'm a Google Developer Expert Cloud Champion. I'm a Women Tech Maker Ambassador. That's a program by Google to enhance and advocate for women and non-binary individuals in their career and education. I'm also a community builder here in Boston. So if you are in town, I encourage you to join us in our future events. I wanted to thank Google for providing me with a platform to actually talk about what I'm really passionate about, and also the team from Tampa Bay and Capital Region for their invite. Thank you so much. In today's discussion, we will have an overview about RAG. What is it? Why we are using it? What is the right RAG workflow? And how to build it in action. Given the time constraint, I will leave the building part to you, but there will be a GitHub repository that I will share with you, and I'm always available to you through LinkedIn. So the first thing that comes to mind is, why do we need RAG? Generative AI has taken our societies by a storm. There are so many use cases, and they are able to answer so much of our question. Products like ChatGPT and Gemini are our day-to-day, I think, companion, utilizing them to give us answer about any question that we have, from what to cook with the ingredients that we have at home to a very complicated technology explanation, or if we need a tutor to be on our fingertips. To be very clear, I'm not advocating for these. For these technologies for being factual, because these technologies are built and designed to be cooperative and help us with our productivity, and build essentially a statement that is grammatically and contextually right, but they might not be factually right for so many reasons. One of those reasons can be that when these models have been trained, they are training on the data from the past. So if we are utilizing, let's say, ChatGPT, and it was trained on the data up to the October 2023, and you ask ChatGPT about the US election in 2024, these models do not have the proper information. However, given that they are trying to be proper and helpful, they will come up with an answer that is that might be away from the reality, which causes what is called in the society or in the field as hallucination. A hallucination is essentially when the model tries to answer your question without having the actual and factual data to back it. So, for us to enable these models to have the information, we are incorporating these models with this new information in the form of augmentation to the prompt. So, when you are asking a prompt and that prompt is something away from the data that was provided to these models at the time of training, instead of wishing that this model would know about them, the other method is to build a magic library that would essentially enable the model to find the specific pieces of information that is close to the prompt that has been asked, and augment these two pieces of information together, feed it to the LLM, and have the LLM generate the response simply based on the type of data or the new information that we augmented the prompt with. And up to this point, I guess that so many of you already know about this. So before I move on, I would love to have a raise of hand of how many of you heard about RAG and actually played with large language model in the form of chatbot, Gemini, or ChatGPT. I have a few hands raised, and that's amazing. So if, for example, you open ChatGPT and ask it about, you can lower your hands. If you ask ChatGPT about something that is very personal to you, for example, if I ask it what maybe Madonna would like for her birthday, and Madonna is the expert who goes on the stage after me. Uh, it does not know, so it will come up with an answer. But let's say that I have a magic library that knows what Madonna likes, and the moment that I put her name in there, it's able to retrieve those information. Now the question is how we can build this. Building such technologies requires 7 major steps, but simply because I like the number 8 very much, I also added a bonus step for number 8. We are going to go through each of these steps together, but in general, we need text extraction from the document we have. We need to chunk those information, we need to embed it, we need to generate index, we need to have query embeddings, we need a similarity search, we create the answer, and then we want to do a citation. Before I move on, I will explain each of these steps in general, but you have an easier way if you utilize any of the libraries for this, like LangChain or Llama Index. So the first step for you is to do the text extraction. And the idea about the text extraction is whether you are using a PDF or you have audio or you have video, you need to have this raw text into a format that is essentially enables LLM to be able to process them, because the non-textual data is not realizable for an LLM. So, for example, if you have PDFs and you are a Python developer, there are a variety of Python packages that enable for you to read through the PDF. And the type of platform that and technology that you are using to extract this data is solely depending on what type of raw data you have. Very recently, I was prompted to build a essentially extract text from SEC filing, and that requires a different type of text extraction. But the first step for you would be, what is the best way to extract text? As I mentioned, for PDF, there are a variety of methods, for example, PyPDF, to extract this information. Next for you is to chunk it. When you have a PDF, and especially with the larger context window available, the idea of chunking might be obsolete. But still, for some use cases, you might want to do the chunking. Let's say you are working with a smaller model with a smaller context window. In those scenarios, you cannot easily fit in all of the document in the model. You need to chunk it based on the maximum token window token context window that is available to you. If you are working, let's say, with Gemini Pro 2.5, the context window is over 2 million tokens. That's about 1.4 million words, which is over what you had in all 7 books of Harry Potter. But if you are working with, let's say, something smaller, 8 to 16,000 tokens, then you need to be very uh, delicate and careful how you are utilizing that. In those cases, you want to break down your documentation and all of those texts into meaningful chunks. There are a variety of methods for chunking. You can chunk based on the maximum number of tokens. You can chunk based on if you have text, for example, when the next line starts. You have semantic chunking based on essentially if the meaning or definition of the text is changing. But overall, you can use, for example, LangChain for a lot of this chunking that enables you to break down a larger text into smaller pieces. Next step for you is to create an embedding. Embedding might be a little bit of a harder concept to digest, but let me give you an explanation. Suppose we are living in a two-dimensional world and we define everything, whether they are a fruit or if they are an technology, for example. So in that 2D dimension, that the only essentially feature or characteristic a word can have is whether they are fruity or technology. You need two numbers to decide whether this new phenomenon is more fruity or more technology like. If you expand that same notion to thousands or hundreds of different attributes, then you will build an embedding. And each of these numbers in this embedding are representation for how strong that word would be represented in that specific phenomenon. Another good example for embedding is if you have a grid and you want to place and this grid has two vector, one for being a woman or a man and the other one for being a king or not. So you can place these numbers, for example, king, queen, man, woman, and prince and princess on this grid. So the same idea can be expanded to a larger number of attributes in the form of embeddings. The next step for that is to generate index. And now that we have each of these statement in the form of a numeric value, a numeric vector called embedding, we need a way to store these embeddings, and we also need a key to extract the right piece of embedding when needed. So think about it, that for each of these books that is an embedding, you have a card similar to your library card that will tell you which book is where. So making retrieving this information very easy at the time of inference or testing. Now that we have built this library, now that we have each of those initial PDF breakdown into chunks, generated a numeric vector for each chunks, and also provided a key to know where each chunk is stored, we want to be able to quickly compare between an upcoming prompt calling query with what we had previously. For doing that, the first step is to take this query, which is a statement in the form of words, to the same numeric representation as we did for the text that we have. So when we go from the prompt to an embedding, we call it a query embedding. The next step is, now that we have the embeddings for the query and we have all of the embeddings for the information that we are comparing against essentially between the query and every piece of information that we created an embedding for and we place in our library. With some interesting algorithm, we can quickly identify which pieces of information has the maximum similarity to the prompt that is generated. It can be semantic similarity or it can be keyword search similarity, but in general, it brings back information close to what we are asking the model to. When we have the piece of information, then we can combine these retrieved chunks of information and pass them to the LLM and ask the LLM to specifically provide answer with the context that is provided to this. And lastly, as the 8 steps to this pipeline, we can retrieve those a snippet of message or those chunks that we retrieve for further citation, or we can have a technology called LLM as a judge to make sure the information that we are providing to the model is actually related and close to the query. Everything that I have mentioned is provided to you in this GitHub repo that I coded everything in a very easy form, and I strongly encourage you to go and check it out for yourself. If you have any question, feel free to look me up on LinkedIn and I try to answer promptly. With that being said, I'm grateful for your time and I would be happy to take a one or two question given that I only have 2 more minutes and I would love to be respectful to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roya. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to post them in chat in Q&A, or you can just unmute yourself and ask your question. I see some hand raised, right? Mina, did I pronounce your name correctly? Okay, go ahead.
How do you ensure like the data is like representative and like that doesn't have bias for like minority groups?
I think your question is more toward the bias in data. So you can always have an LLM as a judge to make sure that the data that is represented is correct. But to make sure that you are unbiased and just to the minority group, it requires more data cleaning and making sure the provided data is fair and representative toward all of the minorities. Very recently, I had a discussion about a cancer treatment model, and we do not have enough of data for male who have cancer, essentially breast cancer. So if you ask your model about the breast cancer in men or in male, they might not be able to provide you with the right answer given that you did not provide them with the right data from the beginning. So to make sure your data, your model is not biased, you need to make sure the data is not biased. I wanted to add one more point here, 30 seconds. When we are dealing with large language model, we have significant amount of data, which is way harder to make sure it is unbiased comparing with the predictive type of models. So the usage for guardrail and fine-tuning and supervised fine-tuning and reinforcement learning with human feedback is some of the approaches and technologies to make sure, given the historic data is biased, our model is not presenting bias in its behavior. I think I'm at time. If you have more questions, ping me on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, I have to drop off the call for some other commitments, but I'm certain the rest of the speaker would do a great job, and I wish I was able to join you for the rest of this amazing gathering. Happy International Women's Day, you all, and
thank you so much,
Thank you.
Roya. We really appreciate it. We will send to everyone all the resources after our event, including the recording, the speakers' notes, whatever we receive from our speakers, we will share with every one of you. I was thinking to take a quick photo since Roya is leaving. If anyone wants to share, to open their cameras and we take a group photo, we will take even at the end, but now I want to have as much as we can. So let's give just a minute to everyone to, I see, oh, I cannot believe it, everyone. Kate is here. Hi, Kate. I was looking for you. Okay, so let me take few screenshots. And okay, smile. I forgot how is this computer. I have different computers and every computer is different. If anyone else can take screenshots. Control Shift 3. Oh, okay. Now it works. One second. I take one more. Okay. Smile. Okay, and we have like 2 screens. 1 second. I don't know which one is in which screen. I take another few screenshots. Smile. The picture stays in the corner. 1 second. Okay. One more. Thank you, everyone. Let's get back to work. And let me share my screen. I can figure out here. Carol, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead and move it to the next.
Yeah, you're
Madonna?
right. 1 second. I lost my screen now. 1 second. Here.
Okay, here we go. Yes. So please join me now in giving a resounding welcome to Madonna. Madonna is a true force in the tech world. As the Chief Technology Officer of Jibu Labs, she steers innovation and drives technological advancements. With over a decade of experience in software engineering, her expertise is both deep and impactful. But Madonna's influence stretches far beyond her role as a CTO. She's a published author sharing her insights and knowledge with a wider audience. And as a sought after keynote speaker, she inspires and motivates individuals across the industry. As a Google Android expert, she possesses the mastery of the Android platform. Beyond her technical prowess, Madonna is deeply committed to fostering a more inclusive and equitable tech community. As a Women Tech Maker ambassador and the Anita B. Org co-chair, she actively champions women in technology, creating pathways for growth and opportunity. Through her engaging tech talks with Madonna, she generously shares her Android expertise, empowering developers to build their own creations. Madonna embodies the spirit of Redefine Possible. She demonstrates that leadership comes in many forms through innovation, mentorship, and unwavering dedication to empowering others. She showed us that by sharing our knowledge and lifting each other, we can collectively build a more vibrant and inclusive future for technology. So let's give a warm International Women's Day welcome to Madonna. And we're so thrilled to hear your perspective and be inspired by your talk, Building Mobile Applications in the AI Era. Okay.
Wow.
And
I mean, I think listening to that, I'm like, is that me? Who's that?
yes, we're happy you're here.
Wow.
Okay.
Happy late International Women's Day. It's an honor to be here speaking to you all. I think I'll share my slides. And as an Android expert, definitely just in the chat, just write down if you've ever done any mobile or if, I mean, I think everybody uses a mobile application. So that is a good thing. But I don't think many of us have gotten that, I mean, that capability to build with it, but maybe some of us have. So today I'll be showcasing how we can actually build mobile application in the AI era utilizing Gemini and other cool tricks. And I'm going to get started because I know we are also running behind on time. And okay, let me see if I'm able to control my slides from here. Oh, perfect. Yeah. So today we're going to look at the mobile landscape. That is, what is the mobile landscape? We're going to look at Android development. We're going to look at iOS because even though I'm an Android expert from time to time in communities like this, I like to share about iOS because we might have iOS developers and also share about hybrid development and then building with Gemini and then code generation, which is the super amazing part. And then finally, Gemini on your app. I do want to apologize for any background noise. My kids are home. I still don't have a personal office yet, but I just want to call that out in case you hear any background noise. But that said, let's look at the mobile landscape. So if you're new, we have two. I mean, we did used to have more, but currently the most used around the world is Android and iOS. And that is for any Android users, you're using either a Samsung, a Pixel, and for any iOS users, you're using the regular iPhone. I think they're pretty unique. They just have one, whereas the Android application, many people use the Motorola, Samsung, BlackBerry, even though they went out of market, but others. So the reason is why I actually went with Android. It's very accessible and many users around the world use it. Now, today, let's say you're curious, you're wondering, I've seen those two landscapes, but how can I start building for them? So the few things that you need to know is that if you want to build for Android, you need to know Kotlin or Java. If you need to build for iOS, you need to know Swift or Objective C. And if you want to build for multi-platform, which means both of them combined, Android and iOS, you will need either Flutter, React Native, or KMP. Now, Android, it's amazing. It's where I'm an expert on. It's developed by Google. It's an Android open source platform, which is amazing, which means anybody can go in today and fork the open source repository and build upon it, which is super cool. So yay to open source. Let's jump into building with Gemini. So many of us here might have seen this particular screen. I think as expert, we were really included a very early testing for Gemini. And one of the things that I'll be showcasing is how I've been able to utilize a couple of their gems and how I've been able to move around the code. And one of the things that I noticed that is very good as me as a developer and us as developers is it can really help with so many things, but our case today will be narrowed down to just code generation and code explanation. Now, a good example of what Gemini can do for you is it has general language explanations, code annotation and comments, and step-by-step walkthroughs, which is super cool. So I'm going to leave this here, and then when you get time, people can look into this. I'll share the slides definitely so you can look into this. It also has visualization and diagrams, interactive Q&As, and example and analogies. And this is very important when you're building with Gemini for your, sorry, my daughter came in. I'm also a new mom. Women take makers for the future. So
The future is here.
exactly, the future is here. Yeah. So I'll share these slides definitely, and then you can go over things that you can definitely utilize with Gemini. Now, let's look at a pretty good example of how. So, just before I go to an example, I'm going to talk about the gems here. As you can see, Gemini has so many gems, like easy reviewer. If anybody didn't know that, they have hiring helper, learning coach, logo designers. I believe they should be open now to the public. It was open to testers, asked just to test it, and it's pretty good. So, I would highly recommend if you really want to, if you really want, let's say, someone to review your essay. I mean, sorry to say this, but don't pay for other people. Just use Gemini. It's gonna really help you in this. Learning coach, definitely logo designer, all that cool stuff. Now, the coding guide is what we're really interested in, so let's jump into it. Now, a few prompts, and I'll talk about this also later, is something that I'm noticing that might be very important in the future is having another job that comes into the market, which is prompt engineering, where we'll utilize AI a lot to just help us with building code and even better code because it's going to be trained way better. I don't think it can write it code immediately, even though I know they're introducing agent, but I feel like for big companies, we will still need people there to help us build these applications. Now, one of the thing is I can help you fix your code. It can help with coding homework, which is something that sometimes I would recommend and also not recommend because it's good to understand the basics. But it can also help you build a basic website. Let's say you're a startup and you want to build a website, and also update my website tracking code. Now let's look at a very good example. I know most of us here might not know this language. This is Kotlin, but the purpose of this is just to showcase how Gemini can be able to just understand what you're trying to write, and then it explains it for you. So here, as you can see, we have this function calculate, and then it takes in an item, which is list of item, and returns a double. Now this code has defects. So what I do is I'll take this code and dump it into Gemini and tell it, hey, tell me what are the issues. And as you can see here, Gemini will give you a couple of issues. It has mixing responsibilities, mutable state, which is not well done, and then implicit noun handling. Now, the good thing is that you can tell Gemini to help you fix that code, and it will give you a more cleaner code and very well explained, which will be so cool. And I find this to be cool because peer reviews take time, and reviewing someone's code can really take time. But using Gemini or Copilot, it becomes much easier because you can just ask it, how can I improve this? And then it gives you prompt and hints. Now, as you can see there, this is what it improved. It showed that we created a clear separation of concern. We handled immutability well. We handled explicit null safety, which is amazing. And this is going to make your boss happier. Now, it also goes ahead and explains the changes to you. Now, back in the days when I was building myself, I would Stack Overflow for like hours trying to understand what are the changes. Explain to me what is happening. What did I just do? But right now with Gemini, I mean, I feel like as developers, we are actually having a ball. It will give you like, okay, this is why we did this is why we did that. Okay, like Roya's mentioned, sometimes it hallucinates, but I feel like in small prompting it really does well. I feel like where it gets very messed up is where you give it so many things and then it doesn't understand what you're doing. Just give it a simple line of code, it will explain it to you very well, to where you're like, oh, this definitely makes sense. And learning now is becoming much easier. So one of the things that I've also been thinking is that we can utilize this to learn and grow our knowledge in that perspective of, oh, I didn't know what a sum of is, and it will take me time to practice what a sum of is. I can just go to Gemini and tell Gemini, give me good examples to where I can use a sum of, and then it will write that down for you. Back in the days, you'd have to go through, get an entire blog, read the entire blog, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a rabbit hole. That said, so the benefits are cleaner code, maintainability, and robustness. So as you can see, that's a fact now. You're able to understand the code, you are able to maintain it better because you were able to write cleaner code, and then robustness. Now let's look at adding Gemini on your app. Let's say you're trying to wonder, how can I build with Gemini actually? Or how can I build my first app with Gemini? So the first thing you'll need to do is definitely secure your API key. I believe this is open to developers. So if you're new, just file for that and you should be able to get a public API key. And then if you've never built an Android, you'll definitely have to install Android Studio. And inside Android Studio, they will also showcase you in their code lab how you can do it. And this is how you'll need to declare it, which is the API key. And then in there, you'll definitely need to ensure that you have the implementation, generative AI, and then declare the dependencies in there. After that, you'll need to generalize. Oh, sorry. Okay. After that, you'll need to initialize the generative model. And then you can see here, that's what we're doing. We're saying this model that we're using is Gemini 1.5 Flash. I think there's a current model. So when I was doing this slide, I used the old model. So definitely use the current model. And then after that, we can ask it a very simple question. Let's say we're trying to do text for text only input. And this is how the code will look like. So there we'll have a val prompt. And this is actually very doable. You can just create a simple app and do all this. Write a story about a magic backpack, and then you'll tell it via response. So we get this response from the generative model and then generate content from this prompt. And then you print it, and then you should be able to see the response. Now, you can also give it a couple of photos and ask it, give me a suggestion of where I can go holiday with this photo, and then it will show you all that. So this is where you have like an image and text input, which is super cool. So you will just need to do the same information there, call it there. And then here, as you can see, you will just need to pass bitmap, and then you will need to do a content. And then there you pass the images and then the text. What's the difference between these pictures? You can also ask it, what's the difference between these pictures? And then it will definitely give you a response. Now, there's also a multi-time conversation chat. This is when you're trying to build a chat bot, which many companies can utilize for sure. So you can definitely build that this way. Let me show you where you create this val chat, and then you go through the generative model, and then you say start chat, and then you definitely need to keep track of the histories, and then the content you will definitely have the role of the user, and then another role of the model because you're communicating with the model from a user. And then now you'll be able to input the text. So for demo purposes, I just put, hello, I have 2 dogs in my house, and then it will tell you, great to meet you, what would you like to know? And then you can do like chat.send messages, and then you can say how many paws are in my house, and then it will answer that. Now the send message is a function definitely inside the generative model, which listens to, like Roya mentioned, the big LLMs. So for me as a mobile engineer, my work is to just pull what they've already written. But also if I want to go in depth, I can understand that stuff by just digging into deeper how they're building them, which is super cool. Now, the streaming for fast interaction is when it becomes slower because because so many people are prompting it. I don't know if any of us have heard here that ChatGPT was complaining that people need to tell ChatGPT thank you because it's wasting so many resources. So that's another reason. So this is what you're trying to do to get fast interaction for using Gemini. So you should be able to see, and this is the demo. So you have a simple app, you input and it dumps everything for you. And yeah, I hope, yeah, I'm almost in time. And then, as always, I like to mention it's continuous learning, this learn. So I'll definitely mention don't feel overwhelmed. I always say I try to learn the thing that I need as I go, because if I don't need it right now, I don't think I need to know it immediately. I think it's something that has worked for me in a way, because I don't stress too much about what do I need to know, what do I not know now. So I learn as I go. So it's always continuous learning. And thank you so much. Thank you all
Thank you
for
so
helping.
much, Madonna. I cannot believe it. Every speaker, actually, you finished 2 minutes earlier. Does anyone has any questions for Madonna here? Or do you want to say something else, Madonna?
Oh no, I'm just saying I know there's always so many questions about how AI will replace it. Something I've heard a lot, but I'm like, when you think of a use case such as mobile, you can see what it's doing. It's actually helping us be more productive and build faster. So I would highly recommend, if you really wanted to learn mobile, try this. It's now easier to learn. Also utilize it for learning, which is super cool.
If anyone has any question, you can unmute yourself and ask a quick question and to Madonna, for Madonna. Is anyone using Gemini every day? How do you like it? There is a question in the.
Yeah, that's a good
But I
question. I think,
go.
like for me, I've been using Copilot a lot, which is ChatGPT. But I know on my own personal projects, I use a lot of Gemini, and it's super cool. Like it's already integrated on the Android Studio. So if somebody downloaded Android Studio today, you should be able to just build with Gemini. And
Kate says she like it for scripting
mhm,
templates.
nice, yeah, yeah.
So she was happy when they was incorporated into workspace payment instead of as an add-on. Someone else says I'm using it with work and studies. Does anyone else has any other question that would like to unmute and ask right now? Okay, I see lots of comments in the chat. Thank you, everyone.
I
For
think
we
Mina
can
had a
keep.
question.
Hmm?
Oh
I think
yeah,
Mina had a question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry. Other than like Gemini, because you mentioned it a lot, what other like resources do you recommend like beginners who are like interested in like mobile applications?
Yeah, developers.android.com is super amazing. I think when I started Android myself, there weren't so many resources, but right now, your to go place is just developer.android.com. They have a very amazing way of teaching people how to code Android. They have code labs. It's got you. And also, there's my book too. I mean, I wrote a book in Android, and it's specifically for anybody who wants to build a Jetpack Compose. So there you go.
Maybe you can share the link with the attendees in the chat after
Yeah,
your
yeah,
talk.
yeah. Let me share it.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much again, Madonna, for being with us today, for sharing all your knowledge. And let's move on. Can you unshare your screen, Madonna, so I can share mine? Thank
Sorry, thank
you.
you so much
That's
for
okay.
having me.
It was our pleasure, Madonna. So let's move on. I hope everyone can see my screen. Yes. So join me in warmly welcome Jennifer. Jennifer is a true multifaceted leader, as a strategist, author, and existential philosopher. She brings a unique and deeply truthful perspective to helping leaders not just survive but thrive in today's intricate landscape. She currently serves as a vice president of marketing at Sertl Optics, drives strategic partnerships at Say Hi IO and is the visionary founder of Agility 3R, a leadership development firm focused on the crucial pillars of resilience, responsiveness, and reflection. As an author of the insightful book Strategy, Leadership, and the Soul, Jennifer has garnered the global recognition of her groundbreaking work in adaptive leadership and emotional intelligence. Her career, which spans deep tech, organizational development, and executive coaching, showcases a remarkable ability to blend system thinking with a soul centered approach in every stage and boardroom she enters. Jennifer truly embodies the spirit of Redefine Possible. She challenges conventional leadership paradigms, emphasizing the importance of inner wisdom and adaptability in navigating uncertainty. She demonstrates that by cultivating resilience, embracing responsiveness, and fostering deep reflection, we can unlock new possibilities for ourselves and organizations we lead. Let's give a passionate International Women's Day welcome to Jennifer. We are so honored to have you to share your wisdom with us today through your talk, Thriving in Chaos, the Power of Self-Possession. I will unshare my screen and
there we go.
the mic is yours.
Yes, thank you so very much. And, Madonna, I'm so excited to hear it like a young one here. As a mother, I also have 3 children, and I've tried to navigate my career as they grew up and all of that. And Linda, so many times you curate such interesting programs. I'm so grateful for you. And Carol, thank you so much. And I'm a little nervous, y'all, about hopefully the screen share will allow.
We have you.
Are you able to see? Okay, did
Yes.
it work?
Can you share the full?
This is what I was afraid of. A little bit of anxiety here.
You are sharing screen instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Start from. Is this going to work now? Is that good?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Very cool. So you may be like, why do you belong in a coding tech women conference? And I just want to let you know that for 20 years, 25 years, going on 30 years, because I'm turning 56. I'm an existential philosopher, and I've always cared mostly about the interface between you and you. And so I'm going to take you through what I believe are 10 principles to thrive in complexity. And these are also personal practices that have allowed me kind of to be able to navigate and be relevant over many different career tracks. And so I'm just going to begin with this. And I want to start with kind of a compelling message. And that is that companies fail not because they make bad decisions, but because they make the right decisions for a world that no longer exists. And I think because I'm, middle-aged and a lot of my teams are younger, it's a hard time to be in an era that requires so much learning, because a lot of what's required is learning new things in new paradigms. So this is kind of a mantra just to think about how important it is that we kind of embrace this. And the hardest thing about America is many things, but it's hard to be a learner in a culture that is so visible and requires so much perfection, because to learn something, you have to be clumsy. And it's hard to be so public learning new things, but yet that's what we're required to do. So I'll go ahead and start with 10 principles that I really hope help you thrive in the midst of all of this complexity. And so the first is really commit to self-knowledge. And we know the algorithms know so much about us. They've collected a lot of data, and it's really important that we learn more about ourselves. And so it's really important that we study psychology. And so there's a lot of different books that are amazing. Some of my favorite are Drive and Fierce Conversations, Mindset, Flourish. But I really want you to add in your learning, learning code, learning how to build these apps, but really learn how the mind works. Many of you are podcast people, and I know you know these podcasts and listen to them, use your time. They're amazing how your brain works, the hidden brain. And I know everyone right now is very excited about Mel Robbins and Let Them. But I really want you to build in time for you to learn about how you think. It's really going to be important for you. So, and principle number 2 is to really befriend solitude. We live in a culture that is requiring so much of us to be responsive. We also are getting addicted to that dopamine hit in who's reading my writing or who needs me, all of this. And so I've always created a practice of leaving my phone for 90 minutes at a time and creating my life around these 90-minute boxes of time. There's a lovely woman, Sherry Turkle, that's done a lot of work with technology and robots and children and how these affect them. And there's a quote she said is that if children are never alone, all they will know is loneliness. And so I think it's, you know, and I'm a tiger mom. I know my kids don't like it and they sneak their phone all the time, but there are, you know, 2 hours at night that we are really no tech. And we try really hard just because I think attention is the most competitive advantage that there's going to be, your ability to have that attention. So please create the habit of being able to spend time alone and befriend the quiet and try to be in times where you don't have even the radio and you don't have the TV or your phone, because the mind, to be insightful, really, it needs space and time. And I always think that good ideas come from the collective unconscious. They decide to land on a brain that is still. So that is what I hope that you will do. Principle number 3 is to transcend your childhood. I know everybody has very different childhoods. And I know that even as a 50-year-old person, I still have some things that I'm working on. But it's incredible how much mind share we need to be able to pay attention to the immediate market. Or I always say our competitive advantage is the accuracy in which we scan the environment and make decisions. And if part of us and part of our thinking is on the past or kind of some loops, life loops, I call them, it can keep us away from paying attention and having capacity to learn what we need to learn. And a habit, like just something, there's this wonderful quote that the world breaks everyone and afterwards many are strong in the broken places. And I think what I did is I decided that if in fact my childhood was a course and I survived the course, what are 5 lessons that I learned, and kind of treat those lessons as a shield. So that's, you know, obviously that's why principle number 1 is study psychology, because there's a lot of work in that. But then if we go to principle number 4, keep a journal. I've been keeping a journal since I was 8 years old. And it's amazing what a really good practice that is. And I have 2 exercises for you. Some people are like, well, what do I do to write in my journal? You know, what is it about the weather and that sort of thing? But I have a journal practice that is just done once a week. And it's called Plus Delta, where I think of some themes about how I want to show up in the world. And that's like kind of another talk that I have done about kind of creating kind of a personal shield that allows you to create a filter for yourself. But if you practice journaling once a week, just share positively 3 things that went really well, or things that you got joy from, or things that that surprised you. And then the delta isn't in red. It's not that things went wrong. It's just, you know, it's really, the delta indicates a chemical for change. And so write 3 situations that you wished had turned out differently, or that you wish you had more information, or you wish that you had taken pause and got a glass of water rather than responded right away. So the practice of acknowledging the flow of rightness and also acknowledging things that you wish you had to redo, if you do that just once a week, it's super powerful. And the second is what I call recalibration. Recalibration is something that I do every 6 months, or as Melissa Davis, who's on the call, that I'm so grateful that you're here, Melissa, knows that I post the first of every month. And it's just these questions, and they're very simple, but they're really transformative. Where have you been? What have you learned? Where are you going? And then what is required? These 4 questions I have been asking myself for about 15 years. And my life has changed a lot because what is required is a hard question to answer. But if you answer it truthfully, things will change. Very powerful journal suggestions. Principle 5 is really to understand how complex decision-making is. This picture I drew for my daughter, who's now 28, but when she was 10, she played soccer, and I love soccer because it's both a female and male sport, and it's international, and it's everybody can see it. So I think about being on the field, and when we choose to kick the ball, we have values, thoughts, fears, beliefs, and a lot going on, sugar, caffeine as well. And then we're asked to kick the ball. And when you kick the ball, I always make this sound, kick the ball, boom. And that is a decision needs to be made. And the word decide comes from to kill. Homicide is to kill someone else. Suicide is to kill yourself. Decide comes from to kill all other possibilities. Decide. And so if you really understand decision making, I think that will help you a lot. And I wanted to share with you the mental models that I'm using when I use my my AI assistants. I'm not going to go through them all, and you're going to get the slides only because I'm running out of time. But I think there's a debate about is AI making people lazy, and will people lose their ability for critical thinking? And my thought on that is that people that are lazy will be more successful finding ways to be lazy, and critical thinkers will find different ways to be critical thinkers, right? And so you are who you are, regardless of the tool that you're using. And I can just share with you, like, 6 Thinking Hats by Edward de Bono is just a book about different mental models. And you can make a query and then ask, well, how would a blue hat say this? Or how would a black hat say this, or whatever? So there's these are the primary decision-making queries that I'm using, and there's many, many more, but I think that's going to be really helpful to you. There is also Design Hacks did, I think, one of the most wonderful, I'm sorry it's so small, but my hope is that you will Google it yourself and be able to see it, all of these different cognitive biases. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that I, in my usage of AI, if in fact I know there's a bias, I actually ask it, I kind of name the bias and ask for a redo. I recently spoke at the Rochester Chamber, had a women empowerment event, and I had asked I needed, a group of women I wanted in my picture that were diverse and all of that. And I really felt that the bodies were really skinny, and I didn't like that. I don't like all that imagery that's really not respectful of vivacious bodies and dynamic bodies. And so I then went back and said, okay, so here's 3 professional women, blah, blah, blah. But I said, this is great, but they're all white women and there's not a mid-level professional. So please redo, this is about representation. I had to do it a couple times, but anytime you have a bias, just name the bias and say, please redo this. There's bias. Naming the bias does help. Thriving on, okay, so then I think also to honor your journey. In many cultures, the Aboriginal cultures, they have a way of marking their body. They get a tattoo, they might get a different earring in their ring, or they might even get a necklace around their neck or something permanent around their neck. All of those represent rites of passage. And I don't think our culture has enough rites of passage. And so I asked the people that I work with to kind of signify significant milestones and find symbolic ways to represent them. So when I started my first business was in the year 2000, and I felt very brave. And the gift I got for myself was this metal dolphin that I think is super, super beautiful. And then the other painting is a painting in my house that I got for another milestone. It's not about the objects. It's about each of them were markers of a milestone that I'm proud of, not in the pride kind of way, but in the way that I remind myself of what I'm capable of. And I really do think that this is something that we need more significant ways to celebrate milestones in our culture. And I hope that you'll take the time to do that. I think I've got 5 more minutes, so I'm going to do the best I can. So principle 7 is to be impeccable with your time. And the way that I do that is I was working with, for 7 years, I worked with a manufacturing company. And what I loved about manufacturing in this particular company is they had a CNC machine. And every time they ran it, they would make sure it was the right temperature. They made sure it was cool enough. They didn't run it too long. And I remember being there saying, I wish I was a CNC machine, because you're taking better care of that machine than I take care of myself. And so I went and then built kind of a model that I call wattage, in that no matter what you do, it's usually internal relationships, external relationships, administration, organization, financial resource management, strategy, scenario planning, reflection, which you then would put, probably learning needs to be added here as well, because reflection uses a different part of the brain than learning as input. But if you can, I used to have, I do have an 18-month calendar in my house, and I would design for either 30, 40, or 50-hour work weeks. And I would actually map out where I wanted to spend my wattage and then what actually happened. And the idea of treating my intentionality with as much care really did create some really, really great habits. So if you're impeccable with your time, is great. Principle 8 is follow joy. And I want to say that when I first had this slide, I put seek joy, because I have a friend named Andrea Learned, who is just a really special person. And she is always asking me about, tell me where your joy is. What is your joy? And this Thanksgiving, she even got a tattoo that says that joy is an act of resistance. So when I showed her my slides, she said, I don't think, it did say seek joy, because I'm where I am right now in my life. I am seeking joy. But she said, Jennifer, you should have follow joy, because it's there everywhere. You just need to follow it. And so I just want to give her a shout out and just say that, you know what? I don't think we talk enough about looking for the joy. So join me in either seeking or following or expressing joy. I think it will really help us navigate complexity. And principle, wait, did I do this right? Let me go back. Yep, I did. Okay. Principle 9 is experience life as a scavenger hunt. I think you get to a certain point where there's so many disruptions that you learn, I have to create a game around it. And so what I started doing was actually noticing certain things in my life were black and white and other things were in full color. And I just got in the habit of following in flow. What feels right? What looks right? It's taking me to different jobs. I've got to meet different people. And I just think of, I used to think life was linear and I had kind of a roadmap. And what I've learned is that I need a compass more than I need a map. And I'm really experiencing life as a scavenger hunt. And the last principle is we all need to read more poetry. Poetry is abstract and it's beautiful. And to that end, I have a poem for you. And the poem is called Admit. Admit your distant love affair is with yourself. And that no one could play harder to get. Those unwritten letters, the plays for your time, the heartbreak that never got properly answered, that coy look of false seduction in the mirror, or that hard look to what should not be hidden. The invitation is to undoing and allowing yourself to want at last what you feel you never deserved, the fervent wish to come closer, and the loving word of understanding you say to yourself when you finally admit to it all, the only declaration that counts. And this is a self-portrait that I did with my AI, and this is kind of my declaration. And the line that I love the most is that you allow yourself to want at last what you never felt that you deserved. And so with that, I believe the competitive advantage stems from a deep self-knowledge, a clear articulation of values, and an acute sense of contextual intelligence. Understanding who you are at your core allows you to navigate challenges with authenticity and purpose. And when you align your actions with your innate strengths, you position yourself to thrive in a constantly evolving landscape. I am Jennifer Sertl, and I hope to hear from you. Thank you so much for having me. And how do I end this?
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Okay, let me get back to being able to stop sharing.
Yeah,
thank you.
Perfect.
I think 20 minutes. I think we did it.
Thank you so much for being with us today. It was so nice to hear your. Maybe we should do another event like this where all our speakers have enough time to give all their talk. Maybe we'll redo, or next year we will do a full day event. Thank you so much again. I don't know if anyone has any questions for Jennifer. Quick question. If not, we will go to the next speaker. We have another 2 speakers, and then Raffle. Thank you so much. So join me in giving a cosmic welcome to Kate, also known as Astro Coach Kate. Kate brings a fascinating and innovating approach to achieving success. She masterfully infuses an ancient wisdom of astrology with a proven, results-oriented strategy to help founders and executives make the most of their most precious resources, which are time, money, and energy. Kate reminds us that just as our birth charts are more unique than our DNA, the universe itself is a dynamic and ever-moving force. Through her insightful guidance, she empowers individuals to use astrology as a powerful tool to uncover their life purpose and ultimately to truly be the CEO of your life. Imagine harnessing the unique blueprint of your birth chart to gain clarity on your strengths, navigate challenges, and strategically align your actions with cosmic energies. Kate offers a fresh perspective on personal and professional development, encouraging us to look beyond conventional strategies and tap into a deeper understanding of ourselves within the vast universe. Let's give a warm and open-minded International Women's Day welcome to Kate, also known as Astro Coach Kate. We are so intrigued to hear how we can align with the cosmos to redefine what's possible in our lives through your talk, Age of Aquarius, Breaking Gender Barriers in STEM. The floor is yours, Kate.
Oh, wow. This is amazing. Let's see. Presenter view. I'm going to get my slides up here for you all. And here we go. Can you see it?
Yes.
All right. First, a little sip. I don't know if anyone has tried these hydrogen bottles before, but they are amazing. And I am obsessed. So hydrogen, infuse your water. Okay, so how is everybody doing tonight? March was eclipse season, so I know things have been intense. Maybe you got a new job, but it came with more responsibility, or you ended a job and now you're reconsidering your career altogether. Maybe you started dating someone who went from love bomber to ghost, or a significant relationship, romantic or platonic, was eclipsed away. April, for the most part, has been dealing with whatever happened in March, and it hasn't been easy, has it? Mercury retrograde was held up our contract negotiations because Venus retrograde didn't believe the fine print reflected our self-worth. Conversations with partners might have turned into miscommunications, which morphed into arguments about money, trust, or commitment. It was impossible to keep a schedule. There was always something or someone draining our resources, time, money, and energy. If you traveled, flights were delayed. Either you couldn't pull up your e-ticket, your kid got sick, the Uber driver dropped you off at the wrong terminal. I've heard all kinds of stories and I experienced them. At the very least, you sent an email or a DM or a text that you regret, like to your ex, not just saying. These were all tests, thanks to Saturn, the taskmaster, who's been laying it on thick. But also, it's connected to several times to the North Node this month, and that's a fate. So if you worked with the delays, you could have received some very special rewards. So at this point, you're either thinking, how did she know that? Or what is this lady talking about? I'm talking about astrology, the study of the position and movements of celestial bodies and the belief that these movements affect people's lives and personalities. Astrology is actually a 7 7,000-year-old science or pseudoscience, depending on your beliefs. Up until the Renaissance, it was an academic discipline. Kings and queens actually used this to build empires or to strategize for battle, until some religious leaders believed it challenged fate versus free will. I'm of the belief that astrology can show us the energy at play when we were born and into the future, but I also believe that we have a choice in how we use and react to the energy. And I think a lot of you believe too, and that's why it's a $20 billion industry. Now, tonight, I want to focus on one significant transit that I believe will impact women in STEM. Pluto has entered Aquarius, which some astrologers call the age of Aquarius, or at least its onset. And if you stick with me to the end, I'll show you how Pluto in Aquarius will impact each zodiac sign. Pluto is the planet of transformation, death, and rebirth. Its purpose is to break down old ways of thinking and push people into a new era. Aquarius is known as the rebel with a cause, ruling over freedom, independence, invention, and innovation, specifically science and technology. With Pluto now in Aquarius for the next 20 years, expect a facelift. Power will change hands, ladies. I believe fields in STEM to watch include AI governance, cyber law, data ethics, and the environmental monitoring of space exploration. Or if Elon is watching and wants to sponsor my YouTube channel, space exploration, period. This won't all happen overnight, and it won't impact everyone all at once. Pluto is a slow-moving outer planet, and this is a 20-year transit. In fact, we're about to enter retrograde phase. Pluto will backspin from 3 degrees to 1 degree. So retrogrades, you've heard of Mercury retrograde, I'm sure, but retrograde is a time to reflect, to refine, to rework, all the re's. But since March 2023, Pluto has actually been slowly moving forward. So the point of this is if you have any planets or points in the early degrees of Aquarius, you're initiating all of this change. And we've seen a lot in the last 2 years. There's been major breakthroughs in STEM. So here are some role models that I'd like to chat about. And I used AI to create a little art for everybody today. Rashma Sojani is the founder of Girls Who Code. Her team at Moms First launched paidleave.ai. It's a chat box. It actually tells people how much paid maternity leave they're entitled to, and it also helps them guide through the application process. You likely know Verity Harding from Time's 100 Most Influential People in AI. She's the former head of security policy at Google and the author of AI Needs You, which explores the future of AI and its societal impacts. In space exploration, Dr. Marsha Rickey has uncovered our latest galaxies, or our earliest galaxies, using the James Webb Space Telescope. And Dr. Krista Sfar has integrated quantum computing tech into cloud platforms. And she's got a great blog, by the way. This responsibility, of course, won't come without challenges. Breaking gender barriers, fighting for equal pay, better maternity policies, and more inclusive work environments are all part of Pluto's master plan while in Aquarius. To best prepare, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was during the American and French revolutions. Yes, this area was dominated by politics and war, but it also gave way to major developments in philosophy, in medicine, astronomy, and invention, areas where bold women made their mark. That said, the changes were met with social upheaval as women fought, you guessed, for equality. The first female astronomer to be paid for her work was Caroline Herschel. She discovered 8 comets, several deep sky objects, and created a catalog of nebulae with her brother. She was also the first woman awarded the gold medal by the Royal Astronomical Society, but her work was often published under her brother's name. Jane Marcet wrote Conversations on Chemistry. It was a game-changing science book written for women and young people, but Jane had to soften the science to avoid backlash from patriarchal gatekeepers. And she also wasn't allowed to publish under her own name initially. And the mother of modern chemistry, Marie-Anne Palt-Lavoisier, wasn't just a lab assistant to her husband. She translated English scientific text into French, and she slipped in her own commentary to help people understand combustion and the metric system. But she was denied formal education because she was a woman. In fact, most women were barred from universities and scientific societies. And of course, the political upheaval of the revolution made access to labs and funding near impossible, even unsafe. You see Galantine there in the slide. So they self-educated. They worked under male relatives because for them at that time, it wasn't about prestige. They were advancing science for the better of humanity. That's the definition of Pluto in Aquarius. It was their passion to learn and their will to inform that catalyzed the accessibility and democratization of science. This is how women in STEM will continue to make their mark, and it will be part of our legacy. So what's a gal to do? Helen Keller said, "Alone we can do so little. Together, we can do so much." For me, I went through some heavy experiences, from the loss of my parents to the loss of my identity. Traditional methods like therapy and prescriptions don't work for me, but I needed help and I wanted answers. And I think we can all agree, data doesn't lie. And since most of us spend the majority of our lives working, I don't think it's wrong to want to do something that we love, that we're good at. That's meaningful work. And research shows it's one of the 5 elements of living a great life. So here's a look at my chart layered over tonight's astrology. I think I hit this is 8 o'clock, so I think we're coming up right on that. I know this is a lot. I'm just going to pick out a few things here. I have Pluto sitting right on top of my midheaven. It's that pink person symbol right at 1 o'clock. The MC is not a planet. It's a significant point in our birth chart that represents our careers and what we leave behind after we're gone. Again, Pluto is about transformation. So what happened to me over the last 2 years, I pivoted into a completely new industry that comes with an entirely new identity, one that I believe will be part of my legacy. Now, we know that Aquarius is about invention, innovation, and liberation, but 3 degrees is Mercurian. It suggests communicating through technology, publishing, and media to connect with the masses. Now, the sun reflects our job and how we shine in the world. The sun, for me, is in Taurus, along with a whole slew of other planets in the 12th house of spirituality, which shines light on hidden talents. And you can see that cluster around 9 o'clock in the 12th. So I'm meant to build something of value, Taurus, that helps people heal because I understand pain, that's Chiron, the key symbol, and take action, Mars, the pink arrow, to share my ideas, Mercury, the one with the little horns, about what I love, Venus. It kind of looks like a peace symbol, specifically related to 5th dimension topics like neuroscience and metaphysics. That's the 12th house of spirituality. In 2023, when Pluto began its transit into Aquarius, I started to incorporate my passion for astrology into my own personal professional development. So even before I knew it was in my chart, my soul was actually guiding me here. It's fate. I needed to be brave and exercise my free will. So after I became aware in 2024, I invested in myself to work with the energy. I started taking courses, creating a methodology, building out offerings, working with beta clients, and growing a little brand. Now in 2025, with the North Node of Fate, that horseshoe right at 11 o'clock, transiting my 11th house of online communities and long-term wishes, sitting right next to Saturn, Venus, and Neptune, which means take what you love seriously to fulfill a dream. When Linda and Carol asked me to speak to you tonight, it was really another sign for me that I'm on the right path. Now, do I have a long way to go? No doubt. But tonight is a milestone, and that's why I believe it's fate, not fate versus free will. Achieving return on investment relies on fate and free will. This is why I pair astrology with a goal results strategy. The playbook starts with awareness. I use birth charts really similar to the Myers-Briggs type indicator to uncover someone's astrological personality type. By analyzing the data, I show people what they need from their closest relationships, what drives them to make certain decisions, and even how they process trauma. This has helped me. It's helped other people understand ourselves and better relate to others. Similar to like a meteorologist or a financial advisor, I use the data to forecast, not predict, what major transits like eclipses and retrogrades, how they impact our lives. Now we can get ahead of the energy by using our free will to prioritize our resources, time, money, and energy. Because as we all know, there's only so much time in the day. When we say yes to one thing, it often means a no to something else. But when we know where the energy lands, we can concentrate on specific areas like health, money, business, or love. This process involves getting clear about what's most important to us so we can free up space. And yes, it means that some experiences or people won't make the cut. Full moons are great for letting go, while eclipses like the ones we had in March do it for us. And new moons are perfect for setting new goals. And we just had a new moon in Taurus on the 27th. Taurus is about stability. So wherever Taurus lands in your chart over the next 6 months, chip away at a goal to have more security in that area of your life by the fall, because new moons turn into full moons. Okay, because step 3 is all about strategy. With a goal in mind, we can reverse engineer it to come up with a game plan. This is when I use the SMART goal methodology. You know it: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. If we believe we can achieve, not by wishing on a star. In step 4, I ask people to be the change, because winning return on investment starts with investing in ourselves. And at the end of the day, we just have to be at peace with the fact that some things are out of our control. How other people behave, the weather. This is when we need to have faith. Okay, so as promised, I created mini Age of Aquarius forecasts for each rising sign. I'm a Western astrologer. I partner with Luna Astrology software. Tonight, I'm using the whole house system. It doesn't take into consideration degrees or other aspects. So these are general readings designed to spark aha moments. If you don't know your rising sign, you can Google it using any free birth chart calculator. You're going to need your date, location, and time of birth. And if you don't know that, it can be found on most long-form birth certificates. You can gain value from listening to your sun and moon signs. The sun represents our life experiences and the drive behind our interests. It specifically refers to our career, hobbies, and talents, right? Most of you probably know your sun sign because that's your birthday. The moon reflects our inner feelings, our secrets, our memories, our intuition, our subconscious. It's the part of us that we really only show people who we really, really trust, like that best friend that we can just laugh with, be super silly with, or the fact that I just ate a pint of Ben & Jerry's in front of my partner last night. He didn't blink an eye because I am a Taurus ruled by Venus and we like our snacks. But the rising sign or ascendant is our motivation for living, and its placement in our birth chart dictates where the energy impacts our lives. Now, these are going to go fast. Take a screenshot if you like. I believe that Linda and Carol are going to be posting a recording of tonight later, and I'm going to try to post extended readings on my YouTube channel at Astro Coach Kate. In fact, I just posted May forecasts today if you want to check those out. Aries, Pluto in your 11th house of groups, gains, and goals, which will transform your friendships and social networks. You could join or start a group with forward thinkers or use online platforms to connect with innovative people who help you make money. Since Pluto rules your 8th house of transformation, which includes debt, loans, and inheritances, if you do start a joint venture or merge your resources, use contracts to spell out financial terms, responsibilities, and long-term goals. Taurus, Pluto is in your 10th house of career and legacy. You could accept a leadership role or transition into a new industry that's tech-related or humanitarian focused. This will change your job title or social status, especially with Pluto ruling your 7th house of committed partnerships. You might get married or divorced, become a parent or grandparent. Your relationships will impact your career and vice versa. Choose wisely. Gemini, Pluto is in your 9th house of adventure. This includes long distance travel, education, and your beliefs. You could use technology to connect with people from different cultures, or your studies might transform how you see the world. You could also become a teacher. Maybe you create an online course or publish your research. With Pluto ruling your 6th house of work and health, what you are learning or sharing could be related to healing, productivity, law, politics, or ethics. Cancer, Pluto in your 8th house of transformation, it's home base. It includes death, sex, joint resources like taxes, debt, loans, and inheritances. This could mean that you get married and now you're setting up joint bank accounts or taking out a mortgage together, or you could be on the other end dividing your assets. With Pluto ruling your 5th house of pleasure, be cautious with borrowing, lending, or overspending on kids, romance, small business, hobbies, and speculative investments like crypto. Leo. Pluto is in your 7th house of committed partnerships and self-awareness. Expect an overhaul to your one-on-one relationships. This can be your spouse, business partner, best friend, client, or even your astrologer. Given the Aquarius energy, it can be about equal give and take or learning how to be independent outside of your relationships. With Pluto ruling your 4th house of home and family, there could also be issues in your home life that put pressure on your partnerships or impact your living situation. Virgo, Pluto in Aquarius puts the focus on your 6th house of work and health. You might receive news from your doctor that prompts a lifestyle change, or changes in where or how you're working could impact your schedule, causing stress that manifests in physical ways. Or since Pluto rules your 3rd house of communications, your work may involve health tech or time management. It's important that you focus on work-life balance throughout this transit. Libra, Pluto in Aquarius will activate your 5th house of joy. This includes romance, dating, creative projects, children, and gambling. This is all or nothing energy, so watch the clock and your wallet. Since Pluto rules your 2nd house of personal finances, possessions, and self-worth, keep reminding yourself that money does not buy true love or happiness. Instead, find new ways to have fun, like coding clubs or concerts in the park. Scorpio, Pluto is your ruler. This is significant. In Aquarius, your 4th house of home and family will radically transform, including where you're living or how. Maybe you trade your picket fence for an Airstream or completely deck out your home. Since Pluto controls your 1st house of self, you're ready for a different lifestyle. You might decide that committed relationships don't necessarily mean marriage, or you could commit to breaking generational patterns that change your family dynamics once and for all. Sagittarius, Pluto in Aquarius will unlock your mind. The 3rd house is how we retain information and share ideas. This could happen through social media, an app, or marketplace. It also involves siblings and neighbors. So maybe you launch a family or community-based business. And because Pluto rules over your 12th house of the unknown, you could uncover hidden talents, or what you're learning, sharing, or selling may involve spirituality, physics, or space exploration. Capricorn, as Pluto transits through Aquarius, you'll be focused on your personal finances, values, and self-worth. How you earn, spend, and save money will change. With Pluto connected to your 11th house of groups, gains, and goals, it's possible your friends or networks influence your relationship with money. They could open doors, or you may collaborate with them on a money-making venture that's tech-related. Or you could start a nonprofit and they become your major donors. Aquarius, all eyes are on you. You'll go through a complete transformation by rediscovering who you are and what you want to be known for, especially with Pluto ruling your 10th house of career and legacy. You're breaking free of traditional norms to pioneer or invent something that helps save humanity. No pressure. By the end of this transit, you will be unrecognizable, but you'll also be your most authentic self. You are the phoenix rising from the ashes. And Pisces, Pluto in Aquarius will awaken your subconscious. The 12th house is about hidden talents, secrets, and the unknown. It's a very spiritual house. Crisis can lead to an awakening that changes your life directions. Since Pluto rules your 9th house of philosophy, education, foreign travel, law, and faith, your studies or research could involve metaphysics, neuroscience, or past lives. And you could teach or publish what you learn to help others heal. So there you have it. I'm Kathryn Cartini, creator of Astro Coach Kate, the brand that infuses astrology with the SMART goals methodology to help founders and executives save time, money, and energy. If you enjoyed your talk today, please pay it forward by following me on Instagram and YouTube. All engagement helps me keep going. And if you would like to train with me, I have single sessions and coaching packages available on astrocoachkate.com. Thank you again to Linda and Carol for believing that what I have to say will bring value to the group. Have a great night.
Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge with us, and we really appreciate. It's been a while since I listened to I was so curious to hear my sign, so I was waiting patiently till the end. Thank you so much again. Let me share the screen. I don't know if anyone has any questions for Kate. We will send all the contacts and all the materials in a follow-up email in few days with the links to video, to slides, and all our speakers so you can connect with them. Let me share my screen. Let's go to our next speaker. So, okay. Join me in giving a warm welcome to Linda. Linda is a manager in technology consulting at EY, where she plays a pivotal role in helping large enterprises navigate the complexities of digital transformation. Her expertise lies in the critical areas of architecting, building, and implementing cutting-edge digital products and platforms, leveraging the power of cloud technologies. Linda's experience is truly impressive, revolving around the intricacies of large-scale distributed platforms, ensuring impeccable software quality and managing the challenges of massive data ingestion. She is driving force behind the digital innovations that are shaping industries and impacting our world. Linda embodies the spirit of Redefine Possible by demonstrating the transformative power of technology when guided by strategic vision and deep technical expertise. She shows us that by embracing cloud technologies and focusing on scalability and quality, we can build digital solutions that were once considered impossible. Her work is a testament to the fact that innovation is not just about ideas, but about meticulous planning and flawless execution of complex systems. Linda's leadership in technology consulting is helping organizations redefine what's achievable in the digital age. Let's give a resounding International Women's Day welcome to Linda. We are eager to hear your insights on how cloud technologies are shaping us, what's possible for the future. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you. From Linda to Linda.
So I'm going to talk a bit about my journey with generative AI from the point that ChatGPT was released and a lot of us started getting into generative AI until today. A bit about myself, as Linda was mentioning, I work with large-scale clients on building intelligent platforms. My role kind of changes based on what's needed, from engineer to architect to a product manager. And the thing I hope you take away today is that AI is new to everyone. A lot of folks I talk to are trying to figure out where to get started and how best to learn. And my experience has been that just jumping in and experimenting and learning is the best way to build expertise in some of this new technology. I was listening to a podcast recently, and a quote that was shared that AI is whatever hasn't been done yet. And they kind of laid out, it was the CPO at OpenAI, that we see a shifting boundary of how we define AI, where we talk about AI as anything that doesn't quite work. Machine learning, we have things that are more predictable, more understandable. And then we start using the word algorithm when it's part of our everyday lives, even though AI can be underneath a lot of the things we give these different names. And I thought it was a fitting explanation. And I'll talk a bit about my experience using AI and things that felt a little bit impossible early on that we all now are seeing in practical use every day. So one of the first things I worked on was around building a chatbot leveraging retrieval augmented generation. And this is a lot of the core things that you learn as you're starting to use generative AI. You learn about embeddings, vector databases, prompt engineering. And one thing you learn pretty quickly as you're building out a system that uses AI and uses confidential documents or data is that your data strategy really matters. All of the data that you want to use needs to be accessible. You need to worry about permissions. You need to worry about how access is controlled for people to be able to have trust for what you're building. Early on, as some of this technology started coming out, a lot of those capabilities weren't there. So we would build a lot of proof of concepts, leveraging the tools, and it didn't quite get you the right answers. We talked about hallucinations in some of the talks earlier, or getting some incorrect data or mixed up data. Then from there, one of the things that I started working through next was leveraging some of the generative AI capabilities to build software that could do something more interesting than return just a basic text response. And someone on my team came up with this idea. They called it at the time Data GPT, that you would take an English question and convert it into a SQL query using an LLM, and then you actually execute that SQL query against the database. And you could use English language to query for data. And through that work, I learned about different types of prompting, one-shot prompt versus few-shot prompts. Then we started getting into fine-tuning to make the model really accurate for what we were trying to get to. Someone was mentioning earlier that as you build a lot of context and you try to give, in our case, we were giving LLM schemas of like hundreds of database tables, it would start to mix up what was in which tables, and the queries got to be worse that were generated. And they learned about managing errors in generated code. So earlier when Madona was talking and she was asking the LLM to write code and point out errors, it's pretty good at doing that in text, but we had a lot of issues with, we would give it its code and some errors that come out of its code on how to actually get it to go about fixing those errors to be able to improve on the next step. We hit a lot of hurdles in terms of like maturity of public models. I think one thing that people who are using AI, generative AI now, are learning is that different models are good at different things. And so you build up an experience with all of these different offerings, all of these different models, and get a sense of which products work best for what you're trying to do. And the last big thing we learned as we started doing this is you have to take these bigger problems and decompose them in steps and make sure the LLM kind of focuses on what's most important each step along the way. Another project that I worked on early on was for one of our internal hackathons that we built a Chrome extension that would take all of your career ladder data, all of your feedback data, and your OKR data and help you to come up with actionable career recommendations based on where you're at in your own day-to-day work. And one thing that was really exciting from this is it was our first time really seeing that AI is enabling anyone to be a builder. We had formed a team of people for my hackathon project who weren't engineers by trade, but we used a lot of the AI tooling to build out our application. We ended up winning our hackathon here. So that was an exciting thing to see. And it was really, really telling of where the industry is going and the difference AI can make for anyone at any skill level. As I started learning more about AI, I was overwhelmed with the amount of research and the amount of change happening in the industry. One thing I worked on was a little program that would take archive articles and it would rate them based on what I told the LLM my interests were. And then it would summarize them. Through this project, I learned to be a bit more intentional about when to use generative AI versus machine learning. I think had I used a more predictable model for the rating, it might have turned out a bit better than using an LLM. I also learned that research is really forecasting the industry direction here. So as you're looking at projects to take on, things to learn, what I found is what's showing up in research, you start to see hitting the industry like 3 to 6 months later. So it's good to have that head start thinking about and processing ideas. And one ironic thing here is it's an example of AI being an accelerator, even when it comes to learning about AI. The next phase of my journey in learning more about generative AI was how do you actually create extensibility for AI products? So my experience is as a platform engineer, and we build products that enable all of the other engineers to go faster. And so when we're starting to build out some of these AI capabilities, we started to think, how can we decompose this problem down and make it really easy for teams to use our product and our orchestration systems? And we developed this idea we called enhancement packs, that it took prompt templates, knowledge sources, like documents that got embedded, and tools that were custom code people wrote, and let you upload what we call enhancement pack and be able to fine tune our products to use whatever content that you on your team had. And then a few weeks later, OpenAI announced their Assistance API, which is a very similar construct. And so you see, especially for the past 2 years, you've seen a lot of periods where the industry changes so quickly. Sometimes things you build become obsolete once a better product is released by a large company. But I think it's still valuable to go ahead and build things that you think are interesting concepts. It helps you learn through implementing. So while we don't use what we built, we actually use the out of the box functionality now. It was still helpful to have that experience. Then we started to take things a bit further and say, what if we were to generate UI from some of the data we get back? And we built a product that was still a chatbot, but it would on the fly render UI components based on the data that came back. And we learned a lot about how to structure the data behind the scenes to give good hints to the LLM to know what to do with the data. We learned a lot about agents, where you need to make continuous decisions about what to do next based on new information. So if the agent goes and queries the API and gets locations of vehicles, it's going to do something different versus if it goes, queries an API and gets an error back, or if it goes, queries an API and gets make and model information back about pricing vehicles. And the last thing we learned here was we were trying to actually use the LLM to generate the UI components, but we found that the generated code for the UI was too inconsistent. So for like branding from a look and feel perspective, we actually decided that there were some things that it didn't make sense to try to generate, just to make sure that the product consistency was on par with what we were needing. And that brings me to today. Interestingly, I'm working with a new client, and they're working on a very similar product as that last one I mentioned. And it's an interesting process of going from one place to another and seeing that a lot of us are working on the same things. We're working through the same concepts, and every few months the capabilities from the AI tooling gets much better, and you're able to do much more with what was there. In this new project I'm working with, taking natural language to an API request and building out data visualizations, we're actually taking this project into production. So we're getting a lot of hands-on feedback from customers. It's been like a proud moment for me that a lot of the research and POCs I've done along the way have kind of culminated into having this experience and having the ability to work on things that are now at a point where we can actually see them go live and see people using them. And then I put at the very end here a few like small things that I do every day using AI that I think are interesting ways to kind of integrate using the tools into your life. So Linda made a comment at the start of this session about asking Gemini to tell us something to talk about as people were joining. That's something that I'll actually do in meetings a lot, that I'll ask ChatGPT tell me a joke related to whatever the meeting's about, and I'll read the joke out as people are joining and getting settled. I'll use it to do research on new topics, ask for simple explanations about complex topics. I use it a lot to be able to kind of quickly look up things in product documentation, meeting minutes, recording, presentations. One thing in my experience on using AI to build UI components, one thing I've started seeing is different products coming into the space that let you actually design a UI through a chat interface. So one of those is V0, and I'll use that a lot for sharing product ideas and getting kind of a visual in place that I think reflects what I'm thinking, that I can share it with a designer, and they can then go from there and make it more refined. And then I see my text I cut off there, but I'll also use it to generate code samples for new frameworks we're using. So an example in this product I'm working on now is we wanted to use high charts, and none of us had experience doing what we needed before. So we just went to ChatGPT, we asked it, hey, I need a chart that looks like this, needs these settings, and you iterate a few times, and things that used to take days, maybe a couple weeks, now take only a few minutes, leveraging some of this new tooling. So it's really exciting to see all of what you can do. Which brings me to my closing thought for you all is, I think what's important in the industry today, as we're all learning about AI and AI is changing, is to stay curious and to stay innovative, because a lot of the tooling is developing while we're learning, and every day what we can accomplish is expanding. So getting started now and just trying things out, I think you'll be really impressed with what you're able to accomplish.
Thank you so much, Linda. All these talks are so amazing. I think I will go back and rewatch all of them. Thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge with us. If anyone has any question for Linda, feel free to unmute yourself, or you can type it in the chat. Carol, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Okay.
Okay. So I don't see any question. Thank you again, Linda. Thank you so much. And we will go to the next. I think Carol has something prepared for us.
Yes, I created a short little quiz for International Women's Day here. I will put the link in the chat.
So everyone take advantage. See how many questions you are able to answer. Will you share your screen, or how it works? You didn't prepare in advance.
No, because it'll just show like all the answers.
Okay.
Yeah. So after some people, I have 7 people so far.
Okay.
And then I'll start it. If anybody else wants to join, I'll give it a couple seconds here, because I know.
Yeah, let's have fun.
8, 9. Yeah. 10.
I don't want to embarrass myself.
Okay. 12.
We played it a few days ago. It's really fun, this quiz that Carol prepared.
How many people we have here?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Everybody ready? I'm going to start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Here we go.
Are you sharing the screen?
No.
Oh. I don't know if from my end, I don't really know to use this new quiz.
Yeah, because if I share it, then when I go through these, it's going to show
the
answers. Yeah. This is different than like Kahoot. Mm-hmm. So
maybe it's a good experience for all of you to play it. We played. It was so fun. I really enjoyed it. That's why I says let's go, even if I didn't figure out how to make it to share the screen. I think it's Let's see if we have any winners. At the end, you can share, right? Your screen to see who is the
Yes.
winner, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it should.
Continue to play, everyone. And after this, we will have our raffle. So let's give it
See if
another
it'll-
few minutes.
Yeah. Is it going through?
I don't really know. How far is everyone? I think if you make some mistakes at the end, it even give you the chance to try to answer again. Next time we will prepare more to figure out how this game works.
Yeah, I tried it a few. There's some things
Yeah,
I
I
still
know.
couldn't figure out with.
Yeah. And I have exams right now, this period. My final projects and exams before the summer break, and I didn't have time to play around. I left Carol suffering to figure it out. How many answers do we have so far? Does it let you know when everyone finished to answer?
That's what.
I'm interrogating.
Let's see. See, it shows mine. No.
Let's go to show the answers. Who answer? This was just for fun. You can play it even after the event. What do you think, Carol? Let's show the answers. Do you want to share your screen?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So as long as you all could see it. Let's see if I can share my screen.
Right? Everyone.
Okay,
I see in the
yeah.
chat people like the quiz. I like it a lot. It's just I couldn't figure out how to make it work, but it's really fun.
Yeah. Okay, there you can see it. Yeah, see, it's just asking me to like go through it again. So I don't.
Yeah. That's okay. Let's do it quickly.
There we go. It shows here.
Oh, yeah.
The leaderboard.
Oh, I see that everyone here played.
Yeah.
I didn't play. That is not me.
Cool.
Okay, congratulations, everyone. Thank you for so much for playing the game. Next time we will prepare better and we will play it all together here. Let me share my screen and let's get ready for our raffle. So in order to get into the raffle, you can scan the QR code, or I will paste in the chat a link with a code for you to join in a few seconds. Also, I will send a follow-up email with everything, including this. So in order for you to get into the raffle, you need to fill out the feedback form. If you don't want to answer questions, you have even the option to say I don't want to answer. So, but yes, we truly appreciate your thoughts, and this will help us make our future events better. So in order for you to win, it's really requested for you to be exactly until the end when we draw the prizes. So then what we have for you today, O'Reilly Media will be giving away 5 ebooks to our lucky attendees, their choice. So these are digital books that you will choose. We will follow up with you. But that's not all. Every single attendee tonight gets a 30 days free trial to the entire O'Reilly learning platform. Next, the amazing team at Codeco is also offering 5 digital books to our winners to expand their tech skills. And last but not least, the incredible JetBrains is generously giving away 1 annual personal subscription to any their fantastic IDE a value of $249. So we will give a few minutes to everyone to enter the raffle to finish filling out our feedback form. Carol, do you want to do the raffle or you want me to do the wheel of names?
Oh, I don't have the form up.
Don't worry.
Let's see.
Okay.
Um,
I have everything ready. When I will not share the screen yet because I want to make sure that for privacy, we don't share anyone's email from the form. So only when I have it ready, I will share the Wheel of Fortune with everyone. Let's give another few minutes to everyone to fill out the form. We already have few answers in here. Let's
well, you
give
can
it
stop
another
the
minute.
recording too. If
No, leave it.
Oh, okay.
Let's because we have the names. I don't want to write it down.
Oh, I see. I see.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
We can cut things if we want. Can we have the? Oh yeah. Oh,
It's
you
the
are
QR
right.
code on the screen.
Yeah. 1 second. 1 second. I can send even the link. She is right. I promise. So I will share it. I have it here somewhere. Yeah. 1 second. So the link is this and the QR code. Oh, 1 second. The QR code. I will send both of them. My mouse doesn't want to copy correctly. Maybe the form is not saved. 1 second. So here is the link. 1 second. Let me copy the QR code. Yeah. So, okay. Here. Anyways, you will receive even an email follow up with this. Let me share a little bit this other thing. Another minute and then we will go to draw the names. I think, okay. So here is the code that I was saying. The link and the code is in the chat for you. Let's see how many answers we have so far. Okay, it's 8:08. We will wait another minute or two and then we will go to draw and that's it. So 1 more minute, everyone. It's 8:09 actually right now. Okay, let me share the other slide. Okay. Anyone needs more time? You can type in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to grab the names and put them in the wheel of name. Oh, okay. 1 more minute. Okay. We will begin 8 and 10 minutes. We don't have any music or something. The verification code is not coming to the. Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's such a pain, these verifications codes. I have the same problem with my phone, like I cannot receive text messages, right? I don't know how the verification codes after a while make it, like after 10 verification codes, I get it. Okay, Annika, if you have problems, I will add you to our, I grab your name from here. So did you get in? If not, I will grab your name from here and I will add you. But we will need your email. So even if you win and we don't have your email, that will be a problem, you know what I mean? Try to contact us and if you win. Let's see. Okay, I got the names up. Let me share. Yeah, I feel your pain with these codes. Don't worry. I added your name, but yeah. Okay, so everyone sees your name. Do you see your name on the wheel? All good? Yeah, okay, perfect. Let's go to, so as I said, we have, let me see, we have 5 O'Reilly ebooks, 5 Codeco, and 1 JetBrains. So we have to raffle 11 prizes. Let's go first. Let me write down so I don't forget. I forgot to do my homework. Do you see? Oh, okay. Let's raffle first O'Reilly 5 digital books, right? First name.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Alexa, stop. Yeah, it's an invasion. It doesn't work, oh, I'm in the other screen. Okay, I will spin for the first O'Reilly book. Yam Fei Ni. Congratulations, you got an O'Reilly book. We will follow up with you. We have the video, so I will not write. I hope it's recording. Recording, still recording. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay. Let's remove you. Second O'Reilly book. Ajay C. I hope I pronounce your name correctly. Congratulations. You got an O'Reilly digital book. Next, third O'Reilly book. Mina. Congratulations, Mina, and thank you for all your questions during the event. How many? I did 3 books, right? This is the 4th book. 4th book goes, O'Reilly book goes to Krista Baker. Krista, congratulations. Okay, and now the 5th O'Reilly book goes to Harriet.
Woo! You should have some noise.
I think Linda froze.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. She'll have to come back.
Okay.
That was a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I know.
Are we supposed to do something?
The winners.
Yeah. Yeah, I should probably have to restart and come back in. That happened to me. That's why I have to have my camera off.
Did you see that? It was Mercury in retrograde. Someone says.
I will say we are out of the post shadow Mercury retrograde, but we are still in the Venus shadow. We're going to stay there until mid-May. So if you have any elective surgery, cosmetic surgery, haircuts you want to get, don't get them just yet. Make big purchases. Wait until at least the 3rd week of May. Believe me, I need a haircut. I want my Botox done. I'm waiting.
Oh. Yeah, so things should get better after that. Hopefully.
But for big purchases, right? Like if you want to rework your investment portfolios, if you want to buy a new house, a new car, things like that, spend money on a continued education, take a big trip, wait, definitely. And then again, cosmetic surgery or anything elective. Right? Like Leos love to cut bangs during this time. And all astrologers are like, do not cut your hair. Because they regret it every time.
Ah, okay. I don't.
What happened? Where did I?
Oh, there you go. You're back.
Where did I drop? I was here. I was asking how many books.
Oh, you did. Yeah, you did the last one, right?
The last one, you missed it. Where did I drop? Did you see all of them, or how many?
Yeah,
winners?
yeah, the five.
O'Reilly.
Yes, that was it.
Oh my God. Okay, I have to start all over. I didn't know. Okay. 1 second, I have to take the names again.
Yeah, I'm dropping off, everyone. I just
Yeah.
wanted to thank you for the opportunity and good seeing you, Kathryn.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
It was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
I apologize, everyone. I will start again. Can someone tell me who already won from this list? Otherwise, when we do you see any of the O'Reilly winners in this list?
Yeah, I already won something.
Can you say the name or put it in the chat so I can?
Yeah, Mina Casina.
Mina. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I apologize. This I didn't expect it. My Mac to crash. But yeah, it happens. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, we will
Ariel.
go and Ariel here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Krista.
Because okay. That's it. Okay.
AJ.
I will. AJ. Oh, okay. So this was all O'Reilly winners,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I apologize. I didn't expect this, so it's good to write down things. Okay, so now we will go to Raffle the 5 codec. Wait a second. Now Codeco books, right? E-books. Let's go first one. This is exactly at the limit. Mary, congratulations. You get the Codeco digital book. We'll follow up with you. Next, second one. Jennifer, she just left. What do we do? Okay, because we promised who is not here doesn't get the prize. Just to be fair with everyone, we will remove her and we will redraw, okay?
Okay. Anika, you got to add Anika back in.
Oh, yeah. I will. 1 second. This is the second ebook. Rumesa, I hope I said your name correctly. Oh, where is the chat? Let me grab her name. Oh. I hope I don't lose power. There is a big thunderstorm outside. Okay. Here, let's add your name. Okay. This was the second book, right? Ebook. Third one.
Correct.
I need your help.
Yes.
So many things are happening right now. Yanfei, congratulations. You won a Codeco digital book. Third one. The fourth ebook. Let's see who is the winner. Anita, congratulations. You got the Codeco ebook. And now the last ebook. Let's see who goes. Anika, congratulations. You got the Codeco ebook. Now let's go to Raffle, the last prize, which is a JetBrains license. Let's see who is the winner. Somebody will win. Rarity. I don't know if it's your name or it's just congratulations, you got a JetBrains license. So we got everything so far, right?
Yes.
What is next in our agenda? I don't even know. Next.
I think that's
it.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And happy International Women's Day to all women around the world. I see such a bad weather here and only all these lightnings and big bangs. I don't know what's going on. Do you want to add anything, Carol?
No, that's it. Just keep an eye out for more online events that we'll be doing. We'll have like some IO extended coming up and things like that.
Yeah, thank you so much again. We will stop recording. If anyone wants to unmute and network and just hang around in the room, feel free. I will stop the recording.